Talk to a man about himself, and he will listen for hours.
Yeah, Benjamin Disraeli is one of the greatest seducers ever. I mean, absolutely brilliant. First of all, consider this. He was a dark-skinned Jewish man in England who became prime minister. And imagine the prejudice against somebody like that in a country like that. How did he ever do it? Because he was a charmer, a seducer. He could seduce the birds out of the trees. He seduced Queen Victoria. She was madly in love with this dark-skinned Jewish man. And the whole art of it was, for Disraeli, was to make the other person feel like they were special, they were brilliant. There's a quote I have in the book, I'm not going to get it exactly right, but there's this woman who said, after sitting next to Gladstone at dinner, I thought he was the most brilliant man in England. After sitting next to Disraeli at dinner, I thought I was the most brilliant woman in England. What I consider the icon of seduction is the siren itself, because that's where the concept came from. And that's a woman who has a very powerful sexual energy that any man can feel. It's not overt in that they're not coming on to you, but they just radiate this kind of intense physical energy. And there's an element almost of danger to them. And that's sort of what excites the man about the siren. And then the male equivalent of that is what I call the rake. And the rake is a man who has an intense interest in women. He loves women to an incredible degree. It like obsesses him. But he can never be satisfied with one woman. And because he so much is interested in women and he understands them so deeply, then there's the dandy. That's the kind of androgynous seducer who mixes male and female characteristics. Then there's the natural, someone who's kind of got a childlike energy. They're just so authentic. They're not faking anything. They've got that kind of innocence about them, and it's devilishly seductive. There's the coquette, is someone who blows hot and cold. They know how to play hard to get. They get your claws in you, and then they withdraw, and you go crazy, and you have to pursue them, and you're going after them. Then there's the star, which as well can be male or female. That's a person who has a kind of a distance. You know, a star is somebody that we project all of our fantasies onto, right? We imagine that they're almost larger than life. And it's a person who knows how to be kind of blank and yet have this sort of Hollywood-like presence about them, a kind of confidence. And they become a screen in which we project all of our fantasies on. And we can think of millions of examples in pop culture, you know. And then there's the charismatic. This isn't so much a sexual seducer, because not all the art of seduction is about sex. A lot of it's about social seduction, political seduction, marketing seductions. The charismatic is a man or a woman who's filled with this intense kind of confidence. And the image that I use is that there's almost like a light inside of them. You can't see, but from within, it illuminates them. And it makes their eyes wide open with an energy, and it gives them this kind of animation. We have to hear everything they say. They're great orators, right? And they radiate this kind of confidence that sucks us in. We feel like when we're close to them, we're getting some of their own confidence. We feed off of it. People can get very boring very quickly, particularly if you can't have a conversation with them about subjects that interest you. And so animals is a very good example. I'm not saying that you both have to be Democrats or Republicans. That's too banal and superficial. But the love of animals reaches into your character, reaches something deep inside of you. It signals something about it that's so primal, that's so connected to a child, that there's going to be a deep connection there. And it's not like you have to both love cats, which is good if that happens to be the case, but just animals in general. You love their energy. You love the fact that they're innocent in their own way. You love the fact that they're not playing games with you. You love the kind of instant love you can get from them, kind of thing. And you connect to them on that level is a very, very positive sign, because it goes beyond just intellectual things into something emotional and visceral. So really, the emotional connections, the values that you have together are very important. Money is another one that's extremely important. So if one of you is incredibly material oriented and it's all about money as power and success and comfort, and the other isn't really into it, is into spending money, etc. A lot of people have endless fights over something like money where there's no convergence there. And Money signals a deeper value about the person. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong if money motivates you. I'm not moralizing about it, because that can signal a value that maybe you grew up without it, and that feeling comfortable and feeling like you don't have to worry about something is very, very important to you. And the not being interested in money reveals something about your character. So I'm telling people, you want to look at the person's character and see a kind of convergence there and something that can last. What makes for a great seducer is very simple. You are outer directed. So when you meet somebody for the first time or you're on a date, you're not having that internal monologue going, does she like me or does he like me? Am I dressed well? Am I saying stupid things? What can I do to impress them? No, you turn it off and you're outer directed and you're listening to them and you're entering their spirit and you're hearing them say things that give you idea of what they're missing in life, of what they want, of what their needs are, of what makes them an individual. You're absorbing it, you're entering into their spirit, and then you can reflect it back to them. You can give them gifts, you can take them to places that show that you're attentive to them. Because if you look at how we are in our day-to-day life, normally people never pay us attention. They're always so self-absorbed, they're never thinking about us. The times where you get the sense that people are actually interested in who you are as an individual is pretty rare. If you give that feeling to someone, it's incredibly powerful, because we all want to be validated, we all want to be recognized. Confidence is extremely important in the realm of seduction. You can almost not go wrong with it. Yes, you can border on being insane and grandiose, but the feeling of that person is comfortable and confident and has that kind of inner force, energy that's coming up from somewhere they don't know is very powerful and very compelling. Vulnerability is seductive, but insecurity is anti-seductive. And there's a big difference. If I can define seduction in simple terms, most of the time we are closed to the influence of other people, particularly now. We have these walls up because life is harsh. People are coming at us with their advertisements, with their pleas, with their wanting money, with this, that, and the other. And we've all learned to be very defensive. And seduction is an openness, is the opposite of that. And you felt it when you were a child towards your parents. You felt very vulnerable and open. And there was an element of your parents and how they treated you that was very much like a seduction. So seduction is about being open to the other person to the extent where you can even fall in love. You can fall under their spell. And the sense of letting go of your ego, letting go of your defensiveness, and letting another person enter your world is being seduced. It requires vulnerability. Our day-to-day lives are kind of banal, they're not interesting. And seduction is this realm where things are slightly heightened. It's not that you're being fake, it's that you're having a slight theatrical edge. So you dress differently than you would normally dress. You take someone to a place where they don't normally go to. You have some surprises. You create some kind of a little bit of theater in their life. Somebody who can't do that, who's just wants to be themselves, like, the first date, well, why don't you come over to my house, we'll have some pizza and we'll just hang out. That's just what life is normally like. Let's go someplace special, let's go someplace different, surprise me, take me somewhere where I've never been taken before. Seduction is about effort, and it doesn't matter what the effort is. If you show the other person that you care that deeply, that you're going to do something that took some thinking, some time, that means you're thinking about them, and we read those signs in a nonverbal way.
Thanks for watching. I hope that you had a good time. See you in the next one.